We're from Matsqui. Our team consists of 4 of us. First of all, there's Elise, who teaches K1. There's Donna, who teaches 2-3. I teach grade 4-5, and Rona teaches ELL LSS teacher, our LSS teacher. So even though our school is very small, we have the whole gamut covered with our IBLT team. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to figure out, we wanted to focus on inquiry, because there's been so much push towards inquiry. So we wanted to find out first of all, what is inquiry? Some of the information that I had read talked about how kindergarten students will ask their teacher upwards of 30 questions a day. By the time they get to grade 5, it's 1 or 2 questions a day. So how do we continue to promote natural curiosity without beating it out of them? So our inquiry question, that's good, is what is inquiry? How do we prepare students and teachers for inquiry when we knew that we needed to use common language right from K up to grade 5? And strategies across the grades. How do we promote the natural curiosity of children rather than shutting it down? I happened to be on Facebook and saw something that Adrienne Gear had done with her school to kick off the school year. And she focused on using this book as a jumping off point called The Most Magnificent Thing, and did a project with it. For our common language, we went back to 3 terms that Adrienne also used: analyze, question, and develop. So I'll let Elise talk a little bit about those in a minute. We had some key visuals, and every classroom had the 3 boxes up there: analyze, question, and develop, and we kept using that language repeatedly. And we also had our wonder wall, so if kids had questions about the project that we were doing, they could post the questions, and hopefully we gave them time to go and answer the questions later on that day or later in the week.
Okay, so as Jill mentioned, we decided to do a project as an entire school, which is a bit of an undertaking. We opened it with a school-wide assembly, and we were using the book, it was just up here, The Most Magnificent Thing. So we had all of the students there, we read them the book, and then we talked to them about what question, analyze, and develop actually looks like. And for us, it was really, when we were talking about the common language, we recognized that it's not just the teachers that need to be on board and understand what those terms mean, but that students themselves, even from as young as K all the way up to grade 5, really do need to know what does that mean and what does that practically look like when they're developing and working on a project. So we went through that with them. We gave them a couple of other books that we used in our classrooms as teachers and read through them, so they had a good understanding of what they were going to be doing. I guess we didn't really explain that. Every student brought a box. It could be any kind of box, and they were going to make something from it. Donna will talk a little bit more about that, but that was our starting point. So we needed to have them look at that box. We needed to have them ask questions about what they could do with that box, and then they needed to figure out what they were going to present. As part of that, we talked about questioning and just understanding that that's a part of the inquiry process. You have to get through the whole process to get to the end. So we talked about that. We talked about once we finished the assembly, then we took it into each of our classrooms and continued to use that common language throughout the rest of our project.
This is a video of my class, that I had been away for 3 days and didn't get to see a lot of this project as it developed. Oh, sorry, I'm going to move this. So anyways, Rona came in and videotaped me while I was talking to my class, and you can see that they're in all different stages of working. There are some students who are just beginning, some students who were having some struggles. I'm here interviewing one of the students, which was really nice to have that time to conference one-on-one. What are your problems? What do you see? Where do you want to go? What do you think some of the issues might be? How can we solve those problems? Tell me what you've learned. So there's people all over, but in a class of 28 grade 4 or 5 students, every single one of them was engaged, all at different levels. And this wasn't just special and unique to my classroom, this was happening in all classrooms, that everybody was totally engaged. We saw sharing of materials, helping each other to solve their issues, their problems. One student started off, well, this is really stupid, I don't want to do this. And by the end, he was yes, this was our best project, when can we do the next thing? So just a little bit of activity. This is somebody who had to go back to the drawing board and what can I do? And he's gone back and started again right from scratch. This was somebody who had stepped in for us that day, and she took up the challenge, and on she went, and she was asking students questions as well.
Right, so students, so many students enjoyed the process of bringing a box to school and then trying to decide what to turn their box into. And so we told students that we would provide them with all the supplies they needed, like paint and glue and paper, but if they needed anything else, they could bring it from home. We often had to, though, remind students to practice their critical thinking, and that the product at the end was not as important as the process. So during the week, students spent many hours transforming their box into something different. They were encouraged to practice their critical thinking skills during the process, and not just to decorate their box and make it look pretty. And if something wasn't working, we encouraged them to analyze, question, and develop a new plan. So this whole school was buzzing with excitement and thinking. So after, finally, after 4 days of cutting, gluing, painting, folding, bending, and lots of taping, more taping, and lots of analyzing, questioning, and developing new plans, the project was finished. So to celebrate the hard work for the students put into their project, we had an afternoon walkabout where students, teachers, and parents were given an opportunity to walk through the school to view all of the magnificent things. And it was great to see all the different projects. We had castles, hotels, wrestling ring, animals, and here's some of the creative things they made. And so the students learned that they quite often had to go back and revisit and make different plans. And so students demonstrated project-based learning and critical thinking skills while having a great time as well. So, thank you.
One of the things that we found, we were just talking about it now as we were getting ready to present, was that the process of inquiry, it has to keep going. You have to keep working through it. You have to keep practicing it. I did love that in a kindergarten class, they asked 30 questions. If you've taught in a kindergarten class, if you have subbed in a kindergarten class, if you've observed in a kindergarten class, you know that they ask a lot of questions. And it is wonderful, but it is a process of teaching them what questions are the deep questions, and then helping them to keep asking those questions as they get through, or as they continue their school career. So for us, that was a learning curve, to encourage them to ask the questions and to keep asking the questions and picking out what was a deep question. So I think that was kind of where we came with this spiral, that you start and you keep going and you don't stop.